You rarely build a rich life through things you can buy, because a meaningful life is shaped much more by your habits, your mindset, and the way you spend your time every day. Expensive things can create the appearance of success, but real growth comes from habits no one sees. People become more curious, thoughtful, and interesting as they get older, because they keep feeding their mind and expanding their life little by little. And while that growth may look natural from the outside, it usually comes from a few simple habits repeated consistently for years. Those habits quietly shape the way a person thinks, lives, and experiences the world. 1. Stay curious about life. People who age gracefully never stop being curious about the world. They ask questions. They're interested in how things work, and they treat every conversation as a chance to learn something new. That's why they leave every encounter with more than they started with. Most people stop being curious around their 30s. They form opinions on everything and spend the rest of their lives defending what they already think. But a person who stays curious has a different kind of energy. They listen with bright eyes, ask the questions no one else thinks of, and attract interesting people because of it. So, be curious. Read a chapter of a book on something you don't understand. Learn the names of 3 trees in your neighborhood. Ask a friend what they've been studying lately. These tiny, repeated gestures change how you move through the world, and soon enough, people will notice you've become more interesting without you ever having to explain why. 2. Finish what you start. People who are elegant inside and out finish what they begin. It doesn't matter if it's a book, a small project, or a promise made to themselves. Whatever they start, they see through to the end. This kind of consistency builds something rare today, which is real reliability. Most people live surrounded by unfinished things because they start courses and quit after a few lessons, leave books halfway through, drop habits after a week, and keep postponing difficult conversations for months. But people who close the loop walk through life lighter because they understand the power of consistency. They know results come when a project is started, worked on in silence, and finished. They push through the boring parts, the difficult parts, and the moments when quitting feels tempting. And that slowly builds a kind of resilience that other people notice immediately, even if they cannot explain why. And here's the detail most people miss. That resilience builds a presence and a reputation that money can't buy. People start taking your opinion more seriously, relying on you more often, and feeling confident putting important responsibilities in your hands, because people trust those who keep showing up. 3. Speak less, listen more. This third habit is rare because it takes humility. People with true presence talk less and listen more. They enter a conversation to understand the other person, not just to be heard. People who talk too much give away too much information. They give opinions on things they don't know and commit to words they'll regret later. But those who stay calm and listen first understand the full situation before taking a position. And because of that, when they finally speak, people naturally pay more attention to what they say. That kind of presence becomes a magnet. People who cultivate this habit build deeper relationships, get more opportunities without having to ask, and earn respect. It all comes from knowing how to use silence well, which becomes one of the most valuable skills you can develop in adult life. 4. Cultivate solitude. Being alone and feeling lonely are very different experiences. People who learn how to enjoy their own company can spend time without constant noise, distractions, or stimulation and still feel good afterward. In fact, those quiet moments are often where your mind starts clearing up, your emotions become easier to understand, and important decisions begin to take shape. Most people avoid that kind of silence. They keep themselves constantly occupied because being fully alone with their own thoughts feels uncomfortable. But when you spend years avoiding those quiet moments, you slowly lose touch with yourself. And before you notice it, life starts feeling automatic, like you are only reacting to things instead of consciously living it. There is a quiet confidence in people who feel comfortable being alone, and others naturally notice it. People who know how to spend time with themselves usually think more clearly, understand themselves better, and make decisions with more intention. And today, when almost everyone is constantly distracted, that ability becomes even more valuable. 5. Maintain clean, simple systems. Time is the only resource you can't buy back. That's why it's the true luxury of adult life. People who keep their home organized, their finances under control, and their responsibilities in order recover hours every week that other people lose dealing with unnecessary chaos. And those extra hours usually come from simple routines and a bit of planning ahead. When basic parts of your life already have a rhythm, you stop wasting mental energy making the same decisions over and over again. Simple habits like preparing for the next day before bed, planning your meals ahead of time, or keeping your space organized make daily life feel smoother, and your mind stays much clearer because of it. People who live like this have built a structure that works for them every day, allowing them to truly rest and focus on what actually needs attention. 6. Work in silence and celebrate in private. Working in silence builds something external validation can never give you: internal confidence. This kind of confidence appears when your self-worth stops depending on attention, praise, or validation from other people. Working in silence protects the process. When you announce a goal too early, you expose it to opinions, doubts, and the pressure to show results before they're ready. It's a distraction because your mind gets split between doing the actual work and maintaining an image for others. People with this habit create their own definition of success, so they stop living in constant comparison with everyone around them, and that changes the way they move through life. There is a calmness in people who know who they are, what matters to them, and where they are going without feeling the need to constantly prove it to others. 7. Don't regret your past. Strong people understand that the past was part of the process. Everything that happened, even the painful stuff, made them who they are today. Regretting the past is a waste of energy on something you can't change. Honoring your story, however, is using that same energy to keep growing. There is a saying that the past should be a place of reference, not a place where you live. Looking back can help you learn, understand your mistakes, and remember how much you have grown. But staying trapped in guilt, regret, or old memories slowly pulls you away from the present and makes it harder to move forward. When you understand this, you stop carrying the weight of decisions you made with the limited information and maturity you had at the time. Instead, you start seeing every mistake as part of the path that brought you to where you are now. The most interesting part is how this posture changes your relationship with the future too. When you make peace with your past, you make lighter decisions in the present because you aren't afraid of messing up again. You take risks more calmly, try new things more often, and live with a lightness that only comes to those who stop fighting their own history. It's one of the clearest marks of someone who has truly grown up. A life that looks expensive was never about money. It's always been about wisdom and experience. It's about how you act when no one is watching, how you treat your time, and what you choose to carry with you over the years. These 7 habits are choices that transform how the world sees you. What makes a life feel truly high value is often available for free to anyone willing to practice it with patience and consistency.